We're going to look at squares and square roots. Squares are powers of 2. So if we go 2 squared, that means 2 times 2. If we go 3 squared, means power of 2, then we mean 3 times 3. If we talk about 4 squared, that means 4 times 4. And let's skip 5 and let's do something like about 8 squared. 8 squared is 8 times 8. And if I said to you 10 squared, that would be 10 times 10. Okay, let's work out the values of these things. 2 times 2, or 2 squared, is actually 4. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 4 is 16. 8 times 8 is 64. And 10 times 10 is 100. Now, all the numbers that are these are called perfect squares. So these things here are called perfect squares. Okay, and that's because if you take a whole number and you square it, you'll get these perfect squares. Now let's look at square roots. Okay, so we're going to look at square roots. If I asked you for the square root of 4, it's connected over here, then the answer is 2. We're saying by asking what the square root of 4 is saying, well, if something was squared, what would it be? So 2 times 2 is 4, so the square root of 4 is 2. If I asked you for the square root of 9, you're asking yourself, what times what gives you 9? Or what squared gives you 9? The answer is 3. Okay, because 3 squared gives you 9. Remember, it's just a 3, don't put the square on it. If I asked you for the square root of 16, then what I want you to think of is what times what gives you 16, or what number squared gives you 16. That number would be 4, because 4 squared is 4 times 4, which gives you 16. Right, the next one, if I did square root of 64, that would give me an answer of 8, for the same reason that 8 times 8, or 8 squared, gives me 64, and the square root of 100 would be 10. So the square root is the opposite of a square. Let's try some more. Okay, let's do the square root of 25. My thinking is that what times what gives me 25? Well, I know that 5 times 5 gives me 25, or 5 squared gives me 25. So the square root of 25 is just 5, because 5 times 5 gives me 25. If I want the square root of 81, okay, the square root of 81, I know that if I do my times table, that 9 times 9 is 81, so therefore the square root of 81 is 9. Let's try another one. Let's do the square root of 49. The square root of 49, the number that I need to think is what times what gives me 49? Well, 7 times 7 gives me 49, or I could say 7 squared gives me 49, so therefore the square root, undoing it, gives me 7. Try one more. The square root of, let's say, 121. The square root of 121. Well, if you know your 11 times table, 11 times 11 gives you 121, so that answer would be 11.